ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here, this chapter is entitled as Calculation of Time from the Atom. So just like in modern science also we find the time is calculated as per the sun, the rotation of the earth around its own axis and revolving of the earth around the sun. So similarly, in the Vedic scriptures also, the times were calculated according to the movement of the sun, not just on earth, but even up to the point of a small atom. Like in the earlier class we saw that space and time are correlative to each other. The smallest time can be considered to be the time taken by the sun rays to cover one atom. Right? Like, what is our 24 hours according to the modern science is the time taken by earth to revolve around its axis. And that's how we get half day, around 12 hours of day when sun is visible, balance other time the sun is not visible. So, this science was very well known even in the Vedic times. Here we find a lot of descriptions of the smallest of the times also. What is one lava? What is one shana? What is kashtha? What is laghu? What is masa? So all those things we are finding, all these different descriptions are there. And after few more verses, Prabhupada in his purport gives a very concise understanding about, and he compares the modern time calculation to the Vedic time calculation. At that time we will see it more into description. So we will try to understand that more when we come to that understanding. Today we will try to understand about that why these different calculations of time is actually required for us, in that sense that we have to understand all these different details of times, basically, is what we will try to understand. Prabhupada explains that actually the more a person becomes civilized, the more he understands the value of time. The more we are uncivilized, the more we are not advanced in culture of knowledge, the more we don't understand the value of time. Just like, say for example, A dog is lying down for hours together, sometimes we find. The dog is going around in search of food for hours together. So they are not able to understand the value of time. Whereas, the more we become advanced in knowledge, the more we can understand the value of time. What do we understand? We understand that the time is limited for all of us. Say for example, Prabhupada gives an example. Suppose you are having a bank balance. You are having some amount in that bank. You are having, say, $1 million you are having. Now $1 million, let us say, every day you spend some money out of it. What is going to happen after some time? This balance will keep on reducing. If you go and update your bank book, passbook, you will see that every day your balance is coming down. So Prabhupada gives the same example. Prabhupada says, similarly, in every living entity's account, there is some time which is given to him. Every living entity's account, there is some time. So just like money is a commodity, it's a valuable commodity, and the more you spend, it is lost. Similarly, in our bank account of our life, certain time is there. Somebody is having 50 years, somebody is having 40 years, somebody is having 30 years, whatever, different. According to our karma, we have got different currency of time. Now, here what is happening, every passing of, every rising of the sun and every setting of the sun, our bank account of time is getting depleted. 1 day of our life is gone. 2 days of our life is gone. 1 year is gone. 2 years are gone. Say for example, if in my bank account of time, in my life, I am having 70 years, and if 40 years have passed, balance is only 30 more years. And then Prabhupada explains, in normal bank account, when money is gone, depleted, you can put back more money. You can balance your money. Isn't it? The bank will send you a notice. There is minimum money. Please deposit some money, otherwise your bank account will be closed. But unfortunately, in the life's account, the time which is depleted, you cannot put it back once again. So Prabhupada explains, that is why in human form of life, this understanding of time, the value of time, that even the smallest time is important. 1 shana is important, 1 lava is important. And it becomes very valuable in human life. 500 years of a tree living is not of much value. Whereas, even few years of human life is very valuable. So, this study of this understanding that we are sent in this material world with some limited time. And this material creation is a chance for me to get out of this cycle of birth and death. In that limited time, I have to accomplish this task. So how important it is to understand relatively that somebody may be living 500 years, somebody may be living few hours, and we may be living few years. So it is very important to understand the value of time. In fact, Prabhupada explains, the more, even in devotional service, when a devotee advances, one of the very important quality, one of the very important symptoms of advancement, if we want to know that yes, such and such devotee is advancing in Krishna consciousness, one of the symptoms of advancement is avyartha kalatvam. Avyartha. Vyartha means waste. Avyartha means not wasting. Kalatvam. Not wasting even a moment without Krishna consciousness. You see? So actually you can understand why the value of understanding the time is so important. In human life itself, we can at least try to understand the value of time, and the more we advance in devotional service, we see the more a devotee becomes advanced, the more he utilizes his time in Krishna consciousness. Avyartha, not wasting kalatvam, not wasting even a single moment of his life, is advancement of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada explains, this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, about some of the important symptoms of an advanced devotee. When a devotee is advancing, what are the different symptoms we can find in his life? So first Prabhupada says, steady bhava. Bhava means ecstasy, advancement in love of God. In the first symptom of ecstatic love is displayed in the matter of shanti. What does it mean? Shanti. Raghuttam, what is the meaning of shanti? Peace. Not exactly peace. What does it mean for a devotee? Relaxed by sleeping? No. How actually peace comes? By cessation of material desires. Until and unless material desires are zero, you will never get shanti. Right? So, it is not some kind of vacuum in the mind a devotee creates. It is material desires, not spiritual desires. Devotee's life is filled every moment with spiritual desires. Cessation of material desire is called shanti. So this is first sign of advancement in spiritual life. Whether I am hankering more and more for material desires, or my material desires are getting gradually depleted, and when they are completely over, then that is advancement of spiritual life. Then next Prabhupada explains, utilization of every moment in transcendental loving service of the Lord, avyartha kalatvam. Every moment he wants to utilize in the service of the Lord. Actually, if we see life of great acharyas, Prabhupada used to say, how to utilize our time, we should learn from the Goswamis. From the 6 Goswamis we should learn. For the body, for sleeping, they had only hardly 2 hours. Practically they used to forego even eating. Of course, Prabhupada says we should not try to imitate the Goswamis, but at least we should learn from them how to utilize time. In fact, I was just going through the daily schedule of Prabhupada. So in his Leelamrita, at many places, his daily schedule, what Prabhupada used to follow. Actually, we will see that Prabhupada was also practically like the 6 Goswamis. His life was also like the 6 Goswamis. So there in the, if you go through the Veda base, you will find the daily schedule of Prabhupada. He used to wake up very early in the morning. 12 o'clock is midnight. The moment midnight passes at 1:30 a.m., Prabhupada used to wake up. Then, immediately he would start translating Bhagavatam and other books. Up to 3 o'clock, so 1.5 hours, 2 hours, Prabhupada would continuously translate his books. So imagine when the whole world is sleeping, Prabhupada is awake and he is translating this wonderful literature. Today, we are having this wonderful literature is because of this great sacrifice which Prabhupada has made. You see. Then, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock for 2 hours, continuously, Prabhupada would chant his japa. So 1:30 to around 3 o'clock, Prabhupada would wake up from the bed and translate his books. 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, he would chant his japa. And then around 5:30, Prabhupada with his disciples would go out for morning walk, discussing philosophies, and when he is not discussing philosophy, chanting more rounds. So around 2 miles, that means around 1.5 hours, Prabhupada would, from 5:30 up to around 7:30, he would be out for a morning walk. We can see the different morning walks in our conversations time. We can see many of the discussions are morning walks of Prabhupada, where so important philosophy Prabhupada used to give to his disciples. They used to ask a lot of questions and Prabhupada would answer them. And then 7 o'clock he would come back for morning program. So around 1.5 hours he would spend in morning walk. 7 o'clock he will be back for morning program. And then breakfast, and after breakfast 9 o'clock to 11:30 or around 12 o'clock, Prabhupada would be busy writing letters to his disciples or different affairs. Devotees can meet Prabhupada and ask any questions about different kinds of managements. So Prabhupada was available for that time. Then Prabhupada would take bath in the afternoon, and 1 o'clock he will take lunch. Then 2 o'clock he will go for taking little rest. Then again 4 o'clock, again Prabhupada would take little bit. And then 5 o'clock onward, Prabhupada up to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, Prabhupada would be available for conversations with different guests. Devotees would bring different important guests and Prabhupada will talk to them or sometimes give classes in the evenings. So you can see the busy schedule of Prabhupada. Hardly 2 to 3 hours in a day, Prabhupada was taking rest. 2 hours in the night and hardly 1 hour in the afternoon. So that was his schedule. So Prabhupada practically showed how an advanced devotee utilizes his time more and more. You see, there is one nice conversation where Prabhupada explains about how if we are not regulated in our different activities, actually we will waste a lot of time. Especially, we will waste a lot of time in sleep. So we have to be very, very regulated. In few days back class also, Prabhu was telling about how Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, one cannot be a yogi if he is not regulated in his, especially in eating and sleeping. So it's very important to be regulated. So after one class, Prabhupada talked about overeating. That people who overeat, they will have to pay price. Different kinds of diseases, different kinds of problems, people will have to suffer. So, one young devotee was there, child actually, some 13, 14 years of age. So, young devotee, he asked these questions to Prabhupada. Swamiji, you said, if you eat too much, you will pay. But how about the devotees? How about when they eat too much prasadam? So let us say if we eat too much prasadam, Prabhupada, you want to eat more? Young boy, I just want to know how. Prabhupada, you think you are eating more, so you can eat more. It is medical advice. There are two kinds of mistakes in eating. Overeating and undereating. So there are two mistakes according to medical science. One is when you overeat or when you undereat. Undereating for an old man is very good. So once we have become little elderly, overeating is not good. The more we will eat, the more we will become diseased. Because it will not be properly digested. And overeating for a boy is good. So you can overeat, I cannot. So Prabhupada is telling to the boy, you can overeat, but I cannot overeat. Young boy, how about Tamal and Vishnujan? Prabhupada, they cannot. You can. You can eat as much as you like. Free pass. You see. So, actually it is very important to be regulated in our eating, in our sleeping. Everything has to be very much regulated. Because actually the more we eat, the eating has to be reduced to minimum. The whole idea is basically just the maintenance of the body, to keep it healthy, to keep the body and the soul together. The whole idea is not to maintain the body for sense gratification, to get more and more strength for enjoying the senses. The idea is to keep minimum bare necessities of life. That is the whole idea. Because if we overeat, there is no doubt we will oversleep. The body will require more and more sleep. So in that sense also it is very important to regulate. Eating and sleeping are related in that sense. We can actually see the lesser we eat, the more we will feel fresh, the more we will feel awake. The more we will eat, immediately after lunch you can see, the more you eat, the moment the stomach is nicely filled, next moment we will start dozing. Isn't it? So it is also important in that sense to understand that if we regulate properly our eating and sleeping, actually we can save a lot of time. Prabhupada, he says, our attachment to Krishna should be in the footsteps of, like Kunti Maharani was praying to Krishna. She says, Matir Madhupate Askrita. So Prabhupada explains what is the meaning of Askrita. Anyone knows? Very nicely Prabhupada explains about that. What is the meaning of Askrita? What is the meaning of Sakrita? Good activities, no. Sakrita and Askrita. Sakrita, Prabhupada explains once. Askrita means not once, continuously. So, devotee is not thinking about one time thinking about Krishna. No. One time attachment to Krishna. Kunti Maharani is praying, let my mind be constantly attached to Krishna. Continuously be attached to Krishna. And then she gives the example, just like Gange Vogham Udhanvati. Just like river Ganges without diversion flows towards the ocean. Similarly, let my mind continuously flow. Let the attraction of my mind continuously flow towards your lotus feet. That is what Kunti Maharani is saying. So Prabhupada says, how this is possible? This is possible by following the advice of Rupa Goswami of Avyartha Kalatvam. If we want to become continuously attached to Krishna, then the method is not to waste time. Engage our mind somehow or other in some or other different activities of Krishna. We have so many different activities in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada says, so you have to make your formula of life in such a way that not a single moment is gone without Krishna consciousness. You see, when we make a formula, this is very important. How much eating, how much sleeping, all these things is a formula. 2 hours I will sleep, or 4 hours I will sleep, or 6 hours I will sleep. We have to make a formula in such a way that 24 hours we can think of Krishna. We can be attached to Krishna. So not even a single moment is gone without Krishna consciousness. This is Rupa Goswami's advice. A devotee, pure devotee of Krishna, he always sees whether my time is wasted unnecessarily. He is very much alert. Why am I sleeping so much? Waste of time. This is devotee, Krishna consciousness. Oh, I am wasting so much time without any engagement of Krishna consciousness. This is called Askrita. Matir Madhupate Askrita. You see? What is the meaning of continuously? Prabhupada is giving the example. What is the meaning of continuously? When Kunti Maharani is saying, let my attachment be continuous to you, Krishna. Let my mind be always attached to you. What is the meaning of that? Prabhupada says, this is possible by following the advice of Rupa Goswami. Not wasting our time unnecessarily. In one lecture, Prabhupada gave very interesting advice. So after one lecture, Prabhupada asked about one shlokas to the devotee. Just like I was asking few things to you. So Prabhupada asked one shloka and they were not able to quote that shloka. So then Prabhupada becomes little angry and then Prabhupada advises very nicely. It's very interesting. So they were not able to find that verse. Nityah Shashvato Yam Purano Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. Do you remember, any one of you, this verse from Bhagavad Gita? You don't read. See? So, I am writing all these books simply for selling, not for reading. This is not good. You see? So Prabhupada in the class He's asking somebody, he's asking devotees to quote that verse from Bhagavad Gita, and they were not able to remember that verse. So Prabhupada is saying, I am writing this book simply for selling, not for reading. This is not good. And if somebody asks you, you are so much eager to sell your books, do you read your books? Then what will you say? No sir, we don't read, we only sell. You see? We only sell. Our Guru Maharaj writes and we sell. That is our business. So that is not good business. You must read. Why am I writing so many books? Not a single moment waste. If you want to become successful in Krishna consciousness, don't lose even a single moment. That should be the first determination. So, that is the first determination in Krishna consciousness. If we really want to advance in Krishna consciousness, our determination should be not to waste time, not to lose even a single moment without Krishna consciousness. Forget sleeping, eating, mating. This is all material necessities. If you increase these things, you cannot make any progress in spiritual life. So the more we increase eating, sleeping, mating, we cannot make any progress in spiritual life. So that's why value of time is so important. I'll read one very interesting conversation and we'll stop with that. This is after another lecture. Malati. So if we miss some sleep, we should do it? Prabhupada, we should forego sleeping even. The real regulated life is, if 16 round is not completed, we have to forego sleeping. You should take out hours from sleeping. The main thing is, we should always be careful. We have taken up a very responsible task, Krishna consciousness. So we should be very much careful in discharging the duty. The devotee should be so much careful. He is always seeing whether this moment is spoiled or utilized. My time may not be wasted. Whether my time is being wasted. And time wasted, the time we engage for bodily necessity, that is wasted. Generally, conditioned soul, they are wasting their time. Only the period which we engage in Krishna consciousness, that is utilized. So we should be very much careful whether time is being wasted or being utilized. Then another devotee asked question. Sometimes, if we slept less, we could do more for Krishna, but at the same time, you see, we are very tired. You could regulate that. Prabhupada then gives very, very important advice. Yes, practically, everything depends on practice. See, this is very important. How actually, even the body can become used to certain things by practice. That is what Krishna says, Abhyasa yogena. Everything is possible by practice. So Prabhupada quotes, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa na anya gamina. Abhyasa yoga means practice. So this whole Krishna consciousness movement is to practice transferring from one kind of consciousness to another. So we require practice. It's very important. What is Krishna consciousness? What are we doing? We have certain consciousness now, material consciousness. We have to transfer our consciousness from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. So this transferring requires practice. This is possible by abhyasa. By practice. Then Prabhupada is giving example. Just like one man can run few miles, I cannot run even 1 mile. He has practiced. In marathon, you will find 40 miles, 40 kilometers people run. Sometimes 100 kilometers they run. Just imagine. 40 kilometer means from here nearly up to Gadag. The person is running without even stopping. So Prabhupada is saying, I cannot run even 1 mile. Somebody is able to run 40 miles. How it is possible? Practice. We see some boys, they run on, they practice. Strength of heart increases by practice. And if I run, my heart will be palpitating because I have no practice. So by practice, everything can be attained. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Determination. And this determination is increased by celibacy. See? Determination increases by celibacy. Brahmacharya is recommended to keep oneself determined. A brahmachari, if he is determined, he executes. He has got that strength of mind. Those who are too much addicted to sex life, they cannot be determined. They cannot be fixed up. They are fluctuating, changing. So they cannot practice this Abhyasa Yoga. They cannot practice. It is very difficult. So this determination of practice is possible only when we are regulated even in mating. So not only eating and sleeping, everything in our life has to be regulated. So this is what we can understand why a devotee requires to understand the value of time. So why all these studies are required is to understand that how time is so relative, and in human form of life, every moment of life is very, very important. It is a platform given to us to make ourselves Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead. In the next class, we will take up this scientific understanding of how the Vedic literature, whatever is given in the Vedic literature, now the material scientists are finding it out, but otherwise everything is already given. Prabhupada says in today's purport that there was no dearth of knowledge in physics, chemistry or higher mathematics. Measurements were calculated in different ways as simply as could be done. So in the next class we will take up more about the scientific understanding of time, how it was calculated in Vedic times. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.